Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Game Over Winnipeg. As you can tell from our super fun pairings costume, the blind ref and the beat up player, it's spooky season, and to me, the spookiest thing I've seen this year is the Winnipeg Jets trying to run at an advantage of having five or four players on the ice, when the other team has four or three. I don't know what the word is, not even strength. I can't. I'm at a
I
loss for words when it
I
comes to this team's power play.
I would have personally said that the scariest thing I've seen is the Winnipeg Jets trying to hold a lead. As this is my second game in a row where they have had a lead and thrown it away within the last period of the game. Yeah.
Winnipeg Jets hockey, baby. But yeah, my name is Liz. This is Brady. We are your regular hosts over here at Game Over, and we are going to walk you through this 3-2 overtime loss to the New York Rangers on this fine Monday evening. But before we get into the actual specifics of the play going on the ice, we got to talk about I think I was Blake Wheeler playing tonight? Was Blake
I,
Wheeler there? Was Blake Wheeler's return to Winnipeg tonight? Did you
it
hear anything about
it
that?
was Blake Wheeler's return to Winnipeg tonight. And you know what? It was a good one. He looked like Blake Wheeler out there. He played a lot more than I expected him to on the Rangers. But he's still coming in hot with those shots off the boards. He's definitely helpful for the Jets tonight in regards to not putting in the full effort to catch Cole Perfetti on one of their goals tonight. But hey, it is what it is. But as you said, I think we do have to just talk a little bit about Blake Wheeler before we jump into everything. Just in general, guys, the whole structure of the show. We'll be talking a little bit about the Wheeler stuff. We'll probably have to talk a little bit about the power play. Probably mention some good things about our second line in quotes. And then, of course, we'll do our press conference right at the end of the show. So if you have any questions, keep them lined up for us near the end of the show, and we will be happy to answer them. But yeah, again, as you said, like you guessed, Blake Wheeler was in the building tonight. Liz, what did you think of the well, first off, the tribute video, and maybe let's just talk a little bit about Blake Wheeler and his tenure with the Winnipeg Jets for a little bit here, and then we'll jump into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be talked about, right? And I think near the end of Blake Wheeler's tenure here, and just as everything kind of was wrapping up, it's just so interesting. And I always make jokes about how if there's anything that I could probably write a three-part like novel series on, it's Blake Wheeler as a Winnipeg Jet. Like there's just so many different dimensions to his experience here, how he was perceived, how things changed, Paul Maurice just as an enigma of a person. There's just so much that I could say about this player. Um it was time for him to go when he went. He deserved the standing ovation that he got. That's kind of my like upfront general thoughts on this whole shebang. He's the most important player that's played for this Winnipeg Jets team since they came back to Winnipeg. But
Absolutely,
Dustin
yeah.
Byfuglien was up there in that category if things hadn't ended the way that they did, and if he'd played a couple more seasons with the Jets. And Connor Hellebuyck has the potential to reach that caliber, but it's just hard, and I don't think anyone will ever be able to touch the legacy of what he's been. Famously drafted by the old Winnipeg Jets by the Arizona Coyotes, went to Atlanta, was one of the players to come right over here, and never faltered on his love for Winnipeg the entire time that he was here.
He
So it's
he,
hmm?
he wasn't drafted by the Jets.
The Coyotes. He
The
wasn't
he
drafted by
was
the
dra-
Coyotes.
he was drafted. Oh, sorry. Oh,
Sorry, I was
I
like old Jets.
misunderstood.
Sorry, my bad. My
Misunderstood.
bad.
No, that's my bad, Liz. My apologies. Go on, continue.
Okay. No. It's all good. It's just the kind of thing where it's like it's hard for someone, someone could come in and be like the best player in the league and love Winnipeg and stay here for their whole career and it would be great. But it's just that whole everyone rediscovering their love for Winnipeg hockey with this player is just, it's hard to ever replicate that. So as many gripes as I had with the player while he was here, I'm sure you could check my Twitter and see some tweets about my frustrations as with everyone else. He's pretty special to the city of Winnipeg, so it was pretty meaningful for him to come back tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said there. I mean, like, and especially with he's the most important player to the Winnipeg Jets as a franchise being coming back to Winnipeg. For it was a bit of a tough breakup that we did have. I think the things ran their course. I feel like the relationship with Blake Wheeler and the fans and everything, it feels very much like a like an actual relationship with someone where things start off good. There's the honeymoon phase. There's the thing where, he comes out and immediately, he became our guy. Like, he represented Winnipeg in a sense of, kind of overlooked, not given enough credit for how good he was, how much we, and so he just kind of fit naturally with the city. I felt a couple tingles watching the tribute video there, and for all the bad times that we did have near the end, we had equal amounts of good times with him. Obviously,
Yeah.
you can't like, he was the captain during the 2018 run, right? So like, and plenty before that, getting 90 point seasons, and not really feeling like he had enough credit from the rest of the league. I'm glad to see that he has moved on. His family, it was great to see his family here too as well. But I guess that kind of slams shut the book on the Blake Wheeler and Winnipeg tale. I guess he'll probably maybe, if he plays next year, he'll probably come to town. I don't, the Rangers wouldn't be coming back anytime this year. I don't think, unless it's in the Cup
No.
Finals. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, the cup final that everyone's scripted. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's always interesting. And I was talking to my parents, and I was trying to compare it. I was like, maybe like a Patrick Marleau, or maybe even Patrick Kane last year. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, it's just so weird because he's not coming back in his retirement to have his jersey retired or something like that. Like, he's coming back on the opposing team. Like, there's a hockey game to play here, and he is the enemy tonight. So it's always kind of weird when the organization wants to do more, but it's like, you can't really, like, it's, you don't, like, he's not your friend tonight, so it's interesting.
I'm glad you mentioned jersey retirement, and I was going to ask you,
Mm.
first off, should Blake Wheeler have his jersey retired by the Jets? And second, will the Winnipeg Jets retire his jersey? Because I think those could be the same answer, could maybe be different. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. So here's my question. I'm gonna throw a question right back at you. Um, have the Winnipeg Jets retired any jerseys since the return in 2011? I
No,
believe the answer is no.
no, they
Right?
have not.
Okay. So there's something interesting to me about the first jersey retirement being a guy who played here for 10 years. Awesome. Like, no shade to him or whatever. He did a lot of good things, but didn't win a cup, didn't set league records. Like, he means a lot to us. But I feel like for a jersey retirement, it's got to be more significant than that. Is that mean? I don't know.
I disagree with you. Like, I think that
Interesting.
if
Okay.
anyone should have their jersey retired first, other than Dustin Byfuglien, it would be Blake Wheeler. Like, absolutely 100%. The
Okay.
next option after Blake Wheeler, if it's not Byfuglien, is probably either Hellebuck or Scheifele in however many years when they're retiring. But Blake Wheeler, to me, one, I think his jersey will be retired by the organization, and two, I think it should be. Like, realistically, like, he again, going back to everything I said before, like, he is just such an important person to the city. And like, again, he was, for all the bad stuff we heard about his captaincy, he also did a ton of great stuff in regards to the community, his work with Cancer Care Manitoba, etc. I think it will happen. Obviously it'll happen once he's retired, but that would be my guess. If I was a betting man, which sometimes I am, but I don't think you can bet on jersey retirements. I would
Oh, I'm
expect
sure you
it to
can
happen.
somewhere.
I'm sure you could.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask Shane Pinto, he might know.
Oh,
But I think it's interesting.
sorry.
So you think he should and he will. I think he shouldn't and that he won't. So because I really just don't think, like, I know it's different. Like, the fact that they haven't retired Dale Hawerchuk's jersey with how much they talk about him and how much they love him, haven't retired Teemu Selanne's jersey, haven't retired Rick Rippen's jersey. That one, I could talk about that one for a while too. I know the whole Nate Thompson thing, like, there was a lot there.
Mhm.
But to me, that number should never have been worn by a Winnipeg Jet ever again. And I think they should have retired it immediately. I don't think they will. I know they love him. But I don't know. It's interesting. Let me know if you guys in the chat. Let me know if you guys think same question as Brady, same capacity. Should they and will they? Because it's always different answers. I say no and no. Brady says yes and yes. So let's see. I'm interested to see what everyone's thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. And tonight, of course, they to kind of to move on from that that Blake Wheeler chat. Again, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say here. On the first draw, of course, Blake Wheeler gets the start, and he's lining up right across from Cole Perfetti, a player who could kind of be looked at as having a very similar skill set to Blake Wheeler's in regards to, his gift is his vision, his ability to make beautiful passes, create plays. Cole Perfetti was placed onto the top power play today, and we do have to talk about the power play, unfortunately. First off, what was your first impression or thoughts when you did see that Perfetti got moved onto that unit with of course Ehlers coming off, and then I guess we'll probably move on from that to talking about how it actually worked out.
Yeah, well, you're right, because it's definitely a little bit of a different thing where I was actually kind of excited about it. And I think this goes to show that I swear I'm not the most biased hockey fan in the world. Obviously, I'm a massive Nikolai Ehlers fan. But I was okay with the move. Not because I don't want Nikolai Ehlers on that unit, but if he wants his own unit and he's really set on that, and that's a whole thing, the storyline, okay, give it to him. Who cares? If that's where he's happy, like, we'll figure it out. And also, they're replacing him with a really good player. And my vision for this, no pun intended on Cole Perfetti, was that this player was going to be able to figure out how to move the puck a little bit more creatively on this god awful, stale, stagnant, every other synonym in the book power play that the Winnipeg Jets run right now. I was worried about the zone entry. I was like, just win the faceoff and then we'll be fine. Just keep it in there. Like, I don't know who's going to be able to carry this in properly with control. I was also interested because I kind of like the way I assume he won't be the puck carrier on that power play. So I like the way he retrieves pucks on the board. So I was optimistic about that. Like, there were a couple things that I just really liked about the fit. And I was hoping that it would just bring a little bit of spice. Even though a player like Nikolai Ehlers should theoretically bring spice to a power play unit, he just has that nice vision, like you said, and I feel like that's what they needed to get better pucks to Kyle Connor, and just as importantly, in my opinion, Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele needs to be back in the slot, and they need to have someone feeding pucks to him from down low or from a flank or from somewhere, and they need someone who could feed pucks to both of those guys. So I was excited about it. But how did it actually go?
Well, yeah, not great, because here's the thing. I also was excited to see it because I think that Cole Perfetti has a lot more to give offensively for this team. Again, I think a lot of cases with the Winnipeg Jets, some players just need to be given some more opportunities and they can prove their value. And Cole Perfetti is one of those guys who I've been wanting to see what he could potentially do on the top power play. Again, it sucks that Ehlers is the one who is taken off of that unit, but in my mind, I'm going, okay, so Cole Perfetti is going to be on that left wall then. He's going to be basically doing the Blake Wheeler thing, but just on the other side where, he's on a strong side. He's able to defend the puck from defenders. He'll have an option with Mark Scheifele down low. He'll have Alex Iafallo in the slot, and both Morrissey and Connor, on the half wall and up top. And what do? They put Cole Perfetti on the goal line. Like, what? With the way that the Winnipeg Jets run their power play, the goal line player does not need to be a good passer. Like, he just needs to be a bumper, basically. He just needs to be like just an elastic band who you can, like, basically just a board, like, kind of thing to bounce a puck off of from the guy on the half wall to the guy in the slot. And so it just doesn't really make sense because, again, you're losing Nikolai Ehlers' speed, his ability to enter the zone, which, again, didn't seem like it was an issue tonight for the Jets, which is a great thing. But again, my issue, as you said, Mark Scheifele needs to be in the slot. This man cannot play on the power play on the left wall. You know what happens when you put Mark Scheifele on the left wall and you put Kyle Connor on the right wall? They both stop. They stop moving. They just stand there. They stand there and they pass the puck. Morrissey's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to shoot it? Am I supposed to pass it to you, who's going to just give it back to me? No one's able to make the crossing pass because they know it's not going to Iafallo, so they can just cover that middle that middle slot seam, and neither of them are. Like, they're good passers, but they're not, saucer pass it perfectly into, the guy's sweet spot for a one-timer passers. And then they just stand still, like looking, like the the power play, every single time that the Winnipeg Jets power play has been terrible for the past year, 2 years, however long we want to say, it is when they stop moving. If you look at any
Yeah.
power play, all the successful ones, you know what? Let's just talk about the New York Rangers tonight. If you watch their power play, Adam Fox is cycling. The amount of times I saw Adam Fox sneaking over, switching spots with players. At one point, he was in front of the net. Like, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily what needs to happen, but you need some goddamn movement. Like, if you just pass the puck on the outsides, the PK is going to be happy to just let you do it. I know the power play goal that the Rangers scored was off of like a tip shot, but right before that, they had an opportunity where it was created because there was so much movement, so much chaos being created, and that's what the Winnipeg Jets lack. Like it just doesn't work when you put Mark Scheifele on the wall there, and then you're not using Cole Perfetti to, his skills, like what he actually can provide as useful for that power play. And it just goes to show what happens. Like it's brutal. It's just not fun to watch. The Rangers should have known when they took a penalty with 18 seconds left, which was not a penalty also, by the way, as the blind ref here. Mason Appleton just fell. Like
He looked like me stopping when I'm trying to like hit the boards real quick, just like a little stutter.
Well, that's sorry. But yeah,
It was just so funny. I know.
It's ridiculous. Like the Rangers should have just been almost happy at that point because, like, the Jets aren't going to score, and then OT comes and they start it with like Iafallo,
Start with the top line and Josh.
yeah. Well, but they took off Perfetti, right? And
yeah,
in like I understand that Iafallo plays the net front. You shouldn't have specified spots necessarily. You should have an ideal spot, a place where players play in general. But if you're saying, well, that guy needs to be here because he's the net front guy, as if players don't move, like as if hockey isn't a dynamic sport, like what are you doing? And especially, sorry, you're just letting me roll, and I appreciate it, but okay, so I'll rein it back. The reason why I was so upset to see Alex Iafallo, who I've loved him this year, and he's done well. He's helped make the top line a little bit better, despite them having not a great game today. But I wanted to see either Ehlers or Perfetti, considering they had a fantastic game tonight. And so, you know what? I will yield my time. I will hand it over to you, Liz. What did you think of the second line today? Because and I feel like we always end up talking about those guys, but tonight they felt like they really made an impact. How are you feeling on those guys today?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a good carryover from the power play conversation, and that overtime power play that was just dreadful to watch. It was so unbelievably undangerous, and it was because they had those static guys, and they wouldn't put their most interesting and creative players out there when they had the most space to work with. And that's when you put out guys, especially when they're playing as well as they were tonight, like Cole Perfetti and Nikolai Ehlers. Vladimir Masakov, I'm sorry, you're just collateral damage right now. Like I'm not too concerned about him. He was good when he needed to be good. I wouldn't have wanted him out there on overtime either. It's fine. But in that 4-on-3 situation, you want a player that's going to move things around. And the most dangerous the Winnipeg Jets looked on that 4-on-3 power play was the one time the puck was kind of like dumped into the corner and Kyle Connor brought it out and skated it into the middle. And I was like, oh, maybe something interesting will happen here. But then he went to the other wall and Mark Scheifele went to the other wall and they circled back. And I was like, okay, this is stupid. So like you need to have your players in there that are going to break that up dangerously. And I found that, the Nikolai Ehlers line was doing that pretty well at 5-on-5 tonight. But that's supposed to be the time when it's, back and forth and back and forth. Like at the power play is when you're supposed to be dominating, which they were not. But that doesn't even answer your question at all. I'm also heated, but just maybe not as much as you. But that Nikolai Ehlers line, do you have the money puck in front of you?
I do.
What was their ice time? What was their ice time?
What was
Nikolai
their ice
Ehlers
time?
Specifically.
Give me 1 second. Nikolai Ehlers played 13 minutes and 49 seconds.
It was so funny. I guess I don't watch a lot of Sportsnet broadcasts, but they had this one little thing. Oh God.
Sorry, I want you to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut. I actually didn't mean to cut you off. How many minutes did Mark Scheifele play tonight?
Does this include overtime?
I guess it does. Yeah, but yes. Sorry,
24 minutes.
he played 24 minutes. Almost on the dot. He played just a little bit under at 23:50. Kyle Connor 23:16. Sorry, I actually didn't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
No, sometimes you see things and you need to share. I get it. I get it. No,
it wasn't
but,
even like an I need to share. It was just like a visceral reaction.
yeah, no, literally. No, but it was so funny. I haven't watched a lot of Sportsnet broadcasts, and they had this little this Desjardins expert advice. Like, it's like one of those Napa Auto Parts keys to the game or whatever they're called. But the Desjardins experts of the game thing, the expert advice was play your good players. And it was a little picture of Nikolai Ehlers. It's like he has 9 minutes of ice time tonight. And I was like, holy crap. Like, they are just blaming this decision. It's so funny. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. There wasn't a lot of power play time tonight, not a lot of penalty killing time tonight, very average amount. You got to find a way to play these guys more than that. How also, if you still have that in front of you, how many minutes did Mason Appleton play tonight?
Mason Appleton. Give me one moment. Mason Appleton, 16 minutes and 39 seconds. Adam Lowry, 17 minutes and 26.
So Adam Lowry, I'm gonna ignore for a second because he got some overtime reps, but Nikolai Ehlers also got some overtime reps. I'll say maybe a minute. So let's say he had 12 minutes. Mason Appleton, no overtime minutes. So let's say he played essentially 4 more minutes than Nikolai Ehlers did tonight. Mason Appleton? Are we talking about the same Mason Appleton, Mr. Arniel? Because what?
Yeah, and this is we don't really mean to pick on Mason Appleton. It's just which of these two players are better? Which of these two players should be playing?
That's exactly it.
It's a results thing, and it's and
I am loving that third line.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
fine.
they're great. It makes me really interested to see what the Jets could do once Gabe Vilardi comes back. And maybe we can talk about, the one brief moment we saw with Perfetti, Scheifele, and Ehlers out together. Well, we can maybe talk about that because everyone was like, everyone saw it for a moment and was like, "Ooh, that would be nice." It's not going to happen, guys. Let's be honest here. No. But what were we talking about a second ago? Jeez, yeah, it's not to pick on Mason Appleton or anything like that.
No.
But when especially tonight where Nikolai Ehlers had a great bounce back game. One of the things I didn't really get to talk about a ton on Game Over head to head with Marc Dumont, sorry, excuse me, geez. With after the Habs game was I didn't get to grill my boy. I thought Ehlers had a pretty terrible game the other day, and it makes sense why he was taken off of the power play. It didn't seem like it didn't, at least last game, it wasn't good. I don't think that you should just base it off of one game, but it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't really get to give him the shit that he probably deserved last game. But today he, again, going to show, one game is just one game. Ehlers was an absolute animal tonight. He was easily probably the best Jet, I would say. Easily, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe the chat can let me know if I'm off base there, but something's got to give here. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing with the Jets. We have many years to know that Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor together, no matter who is with them, unless it's Ehlers, because we only got to see that line for a day. Those guys cannot take on first line competition on other teams. They can't. They just can't do it. They will have, as they had tonight, 37% expected goals. They will get outchanced, and they will get out quality-wise outchanced for sure too. It just doesn't work. It just feels like these guys are on autopilot. When this is going to be a really weird analogy. But if anyone out there plays beer league hockey, they know that there are 2 types of beer league teams that you can play against. There is the older, less skilled team that has played together for however many years now, no one stands out on this team as necessarily being skilled or anything, but whenever you play those teams, they are the hardest teams to play against. You want to know why? It's because they play like a team. It's because they always know where their teammates are. It's because they're always there to support each other. They're always back defensively. They're all if you're in the slot, you're getting pushed out of the way. And then there's the younger teams who come in and, they're hot shots. They just finished either their junior B careers. They finished their high school hockey. They're coming in feeling all hot and, and they will play a skilled game. And those are the types of games where it's a lot of fun when you play against them. It's probably going to be a high scoring game, but that you're not going to have any issue with pressing for offense yourself. And the issue is, it's just like Scheifele and Connor together are just not hard enough to play against. Like, and we were looking at the addition of Alex Iafallo to that line, and we were praising it because he kind of kept it simple. He went to the net with it. He battled in the corners, and I don't want to necessarily segue completely into giving Mark Scheifele and Cal Connor complete shit. But like,
must be a day that ends in Y.
But like, it's just like something's got to give. Like, the Jets will never be able to match up against a team and like play a first line versus a first line without without changing it. Like, they just can't have those guys as the top line. And I don't really know where to go from here, but it's just like, it's so frustrating because I feel like we're just watching the same movie play out every season.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think like, in order to be a good team, you need to have a better first line than the team you're playing against. That's how being a good team works, is that in the most influential and impactful roles, you have the better players. And the Jets don't have that results wise. Talent wise, maybe there's some potential there, but results wise, we're not seeing it. So it's not there. So they can't be the best team on the ice if their first line can't be the best first line. Straight up. That's just how it works. But part of the reason, and Robert is cooking in the chat, and he's saying they need more net front presence. And that's part of my issue with this team, is the way that even their 5-on-5 offense works and how static it is, and how they shoot from so far out with nothing in front. And it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I want to not go on these tangents, because I'm like, if anyone here is in the chat, which, by the way, we have over 40 people in here right now. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here live. And thank you to everyone who's listening back tomorrow morning. If you've been listening to Game Over for a while, I've probably had the same rant like at least 5 or 6 times last season, is that this team doesn't shoot for the types of chances that they're made for. Like, if they were just like absolutely swarming the front of the net, making Igor Shesterkin's life a living hell and all these kinds of things, I'd be cool with the far out perimeter shots and the point shots and all this creative traffic and all that kind of stuff. But they're not shooting well. They're shooting for that sort of stuff, but then there's no one there. So there's no one in front, there's no one to collect, and then all of a sudden just the puck's going back the other way. Like, they don't seem to be playing the type of offense that is conducive to the way their lines are set up. I don't know what the solution is, but it's just, you have all this talent. You should be able to concoct it in a way that's effective. And they can't at 5-on-5 or at 5-on-4.
I 100% agree. There is no good reason why the Winnipeg Jets can't win a game against the Habs where they have the Lowry line score 3 goals. The Lowry line, the third line. Listen, I think they're a great third line. The addition of Nino Niederreiter to that line, fantastic. They can play like a second line, in quotes. But you have to take advantage of it. Again, David Gustafsson scored tonight. Like, listen, great goal, fantastic. Really happy for the Gus bus. Love it. Was happy to hear levels in the stadium in the CLC today. Like, in a game where that happens, a tight game, again, going to overtime, a game where Mark Scheifele gets 24 minutes of ice time. Liz, I want you to tell me, how many shots on goal do you think Mark Scheifele had tonight?
Okay, maybe this is a bit of a trick question, because at one point John Garrett said during the broadcast, it was sometime in the second period, that he had 0 shots. So I want to say 2.
No, he had 0. He had
Your
zero.
your
He
first
had
line center can't have 0 shots on goal in a game.
he had zero shots on goal tonight. In a night where he played power play for what? How many power plays did they have tonight? 2, 3, maybe.
3 at least. 3 for sure.
Overtime time, which included a power play where there are only 3 defenders on the ice. Mark Scheifele can't get a single goddamn shot on net. Like,
it's your first line center, and it's also Mark Scheifele, who is known throughout the league for being bad at defense, but it's fine because in his offensive powerhouse, not a great passer, not a great entry guy. What does he do? He can score. He can score. If this was a game that, like, if say this is 3 years from now and Cole Perfetti is playing with Kyle Connor or something like that, and Cole Perfetti goes through a game with 0 shots, be like, okay, how many did Kyle Connor have? Oh, 7? Okay, you know what? I can deal with that, whatever. But this is Mark Scheifele.
Mark
This
freaking
is Mark
Scheifele.
Mark freaking Scheifele, if I may. He needs to have more than 0 shots on goal in a game when he has the opportune situations and line mates. He's always begging to play with Kyle Connor to do so.
Yeah, it's just really frustrating to see the depth showing up for the Jets. Again, shout out Gus Bus, great goal tonight.
So true. Oh my gosh,
and the rest
so nice.
It really was like
So
huge
nice.
credit to him for what. First off, for Perfetti staying, fighting off the checks from Wheeler. Despite Wheeler not getting on him, he was still kind of had the stick in the hands a little bit, fight him off, get the pass across, and Dave Gustafson just being able to corral the puck with his foot, get it back to his forehand, and rip the shot top corner. Perfect. But again, like, why is it that the rest of the team just can't score? Like, it's just not happening. And again, like, Ehlers had a great goal again too, staying with the puck. And I don't know, like, I just feel like the top line still just doesn't get it's not held accountable. Like, it's just not held.
Yeah.
Like, why are they going out as the top? Like, I understand in a vacuum having Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele and Alex Iafallo and Josh Morrissey starting your overtime on a power play. Great. But on a night like tonight, like, you should be having Ehlers in there. You should be having such a dynamic guy who has already having a great game. The Jets need to ride the hot hand, and they never do. And that's the thing with depth. That's the thing with depth.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one line, if you have a couple lines that are doing fine, and you have one line that's clicking, you need to lean on it. And the Jets have not done that. And listen, I understand Scott O'Neill is not the head coach normally. It's a little bit out of his. No, I don't want to say it's out of his depth. I don't want to be demeaning to him, but it's not his regular gig. But at the same time, the same thing would have happened under Rick Bowness. We both know that, right? And it's
100%.
just frustrating. It's just frustrating.
Okay.
Did you have anything else you wanted?
We're gonna jump into the chat right away. But you know what they need to do for those you watching it live? I have it on backwards. Did I nail it? Is it backwards at this?
It's backwards.
They need to let them cook. I swear, they need to let them cook, because that's how you gain momentum. I definitely have my camera flipped on here. I was so excited. I wrote that backwards so fast and I was ready to go. Guys, it says let them cook, so can respect that. But let's jump into these chat questions now to sort of get a roll on some of these things here. We have one from JSK, who's a Rangers fan here, so thank you for being here. Says he's a big fan of the show. Wants to know who the Rangers best player was. I feel like when I have out of market guests on, I ask them similar questions, and then sometimes they're like, oh, like Connor Hellebuyck, and I'm like, lame, like, come on, wasn't it like Morgan Barron? Like, come on, like, but you're always watching it with the I only watch 4 Rangers games a year eyes. But my eyes were on Panarin, and I thought he was really good tonight, mostly because of kind of the offseason conversation around how he was like underperforming in the playoffs, and he's an $11 million player. He's acting like it, bro. Especially that overtime thing there, where they had that possession. They didn't have a lot of possession in overtime, but they brought it up, and then they were just kind of like dicking around with it at the top, and I was like, oh, they're just waiting for Panarin to get onto the ice, and then he comes on. I was like, oh, god damn it. And then Connor Hellebuyck like overcommits to Panarin coming down the middle, because it's Panarin coming down the middle. I too would overcommit. So I thought he was excellent tonight. But that's a very out of market, out of context, casual take, if I may. But I thought Panarin was excellent tonight. What did you think? Oh,
From
actually, do you know who else? Cooley.
I've
I heard his name a lot. Guy was a bug.
I
Guy was a bug.
I kept being like, are they saying Gooley? is, is 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 there a Brendan Gooley? I feel like it's a Brendan Gooley. I know
Is
Caden
there?
Gooley obviously is on the Habs,
Is
but
there an additional
anyways,
goalie?
I thought there might be another Gooley, but anyways, no, who I noticed tonight, like obviously, I think Panarin is a great mention. He scored the goal. Obviously, I don't think that wasn't the reason why. I picked him as my best Ranger tonight in quotes. I think that was more on Scheifele losing his man than Panarin making a great move or anything like that. But
It was a good tip, though.
it was a great tip. It was a good goal. It was a great goal. For me personally, like I thought that despite missing a really great breakaway chance, I thought Lafreniere looked really good tonight. I thought he had some pretty decent little hands moments where he like just made nice little plays. Philip Hedl is a speed demon. Like that guy is fast. And you know what? Like I just want to give credit to the entire Rangers team in general. Like it just felt like especially near the start of the game is when I was noticing it a lot more. They just feel like they just play in sync really, really well.
Yeah.
Like their breakouts are so clean. And just like even the little like, dropping, they'll do like a small little short pass and drop it just to kind of get a little bit more space away from the player in the neutral zone. And like there was never a moment where it looked like a Rangers player was surprised that they got the puck. Whereas like that happens how many times a game for the Jets? Like they just looked like they were all on the same
those out of
page.
sync passes, 100%. And that was one thing about them that I thought was interesting. I've never like when you talk about like the New Jersey Devils or like the Carolina Hurricanes, it's like, oh, they're fast. Like you talk about some teams and they're fast. This Rangers team looked fast to me today. Like they were on it. Like you said, it was a very cohesive looking team kind of across the board. But I just thought that like Dylan Sandberg is a player that I find always looks really cool and collected under pressure, but like their forecheck on him, like, they just were putting pressure on the Jets. Like they were in spaces faster than I feel like the Jets were expecting them to be. Like they were speedy quick tonight. I don't know when this turned into a Rangers love fest, but like I'm here for it. Like they were quite excellent.
Yeah, it was. The Rangers are a good team. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think we have a couple Rangers friends in the chat here, so I appreciate you guys being here. I know when Brady and I get a chance to do the shows together, we don't get to do these together often. We like to, split up, get some guests, do all these kinds of things. We kind of just get into like an echo chamber of Jets, and you might not even know who the Jets are playing against at any given time, depending on how mad we are about our own team. So we appreciate you guys being here. I always love hearing kind of out of market perspectives on the game that I just watched too. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show so far. If you're watching it live or if you're listening back tomorrow, we appreciate you guys being here for sure. Last question, and then I think we'll wrap it up. Someone here in the chat is asking if the Gus bus is going to stay when Velarde comes back, and I think that's a really interesting conversation to have because it's giving Ville Heinola, right, where it's like Ville before the season started, it was like there's no spot for you. I'm really sorry, but if you are given an opportunity like he was at training camp and does everything that he could possibly do in that opportunity, how do you say no? And I don't think I have Gus quite at that spot yet, but he's got a couple weeks left before Velarde comes back. And if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, I don't think he played a lot tonight. And that goal was lovely. He did an amazing job, but it's not just about the goals. Like I think he comes out unless things drastically change over the next couple weeks, but they don't want to take him out.
Liz, say the line. Say the line. Who do you take out? Who would you take out? Who do you take out other than him?
Tucker Pullman?
Who else can you take out?
Oh my gosh.
Like
that, for those of you who are new here, who are new to the Winnipeg Jets lore, this was a literal question that people were asking back in the Ville Heinola days when the Winnipeg Jets defenders were like Lucas Spiza and Anthony Bitetto, and Jets fans are like, man, I get it. I get you want to give the kids some reps, but who do you take out? Anybody?
No, but realistically, it's like it really sucks. Like it really sucks, and I mentioned this a couple games ago, but like I was chatting with Hustler at one of the Jets games, and I was saying that it sucks that Gustafsson is going to be taken out when Velarde comes back and he's like, well, that's, that's a good problem to have. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's just like the guy is playing really well. Like he has looked super responsible. He's a guy who, and like he checks off the bottom 6 checklist of like, can be played on the PK, which is basically the only thing. Responsible, big guy. And he's scoring. Like, again, it's not like the only reason you should keep a guy in is because he's potting goals in, because that
But
can
if
come
Mark
and go.
Scheifele can't, someone has to.
I mean, yeah. So, so yeah, like I just don't see them taking Kupari out. I don't see them take. I mean,
No.
like that. It would be Kupari would be the only other person. I mean, he hasn't scored or anything, and he doesn't really have the defensive the two-wayness that Gus has. I don't think that they will. I think that it unfortunately will be
Yeah.
Gus.
But I've
And
also heard with Kapari that he was kind of the deal breaker on that Dubois trade. They wanted him. They were like,
yeah,
this guy needs to be part of the package. Like I think I don't think they're gonna try and give up on that experiment, nor should they. I think it's the logical one. But if we're being honest, the odds of everyone still being healthy by the time Velarde comes back, probably pretty slim. So we might not have to cross that bridge. We shall absolutely see. But we see, yeah, we have a couple of good Rangers fans here in the chat appreciating that they get to go on Canadian road trips and hear some of our shows from all the different game over markets and things like that. So we appreciate everyone being here live in the chat. It's been a really fun show to connect with all you guys about this game. Yeah, are we about done here?
I think it's about time we wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to all the Rangers fans who joined us. Obviously, thank you to all of the Jets fans as well. Thank you to everyone who is here listening. Please do leave a like on the stream. We got a bunch of people in here. Only got 16 likes. Get that number up for us, please. We'd really appreciate it. Have yourselves a safe and fun Halloween. If you got kids, make sure they get enough candy in them.
Yeah.
And
if you want to connect with us after the show is done, make sure you check us out on Twitter. That's where Brady and I are the most active. That's where SDPN is super active as well. Brady's handle is at NHL Chunky, way cooler than mine. Mine is just at Liz Hood, which is at LYSSHOUDE. And you can find all of our fun links in the description of the show as well.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful evening.